you can start the 10 minutes because that's... So hi all, I'm Nadra, your session moderator from APSIG. The title of the session, as you see from the screen, Artificial Intelligence, Smart Cities, and Human Rights. As you know, artificial intelligence is different from any other earlier technologies. It has a double-edged sword in providing help and harm for the people. Taking, for example, the deepfake and how it was misused. So in this session, our speakers from Article 19 will discuss ways to mitigate and have more of human rights into artificial intelligence. Let me introduce to you our speaker, Don Lee. Currently is working with the Article 19 digital team, whom they are looking into building human right consideration within the technical standards. Don Lee is also a multidisciplinary campaigner, and he managed to facilitate and collaborate among different actors in Vietnam to improve access to information and more freedom of expression. We have also his colleague, Samoni Sam. He's the Asia Pacific Senior Program Officer. He's the lead for capacity building team and the Media Freedom Project. The session is split into 3 parts. The first part is to have introduction by our speaker to the topic. Then we will be splitting into 2 breakout rooms for discussion on the issues, to be engaged into the issue and learn and interact. Then we will assemble back for another, for wrap up and key takeaways. I'll stop here and I'll give the floor to our speaker, Don Lee.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and once again, thank you to the APSIG organizers for bringing everyone together for us to be able to discuss some of these very interesting issues. So as we've mentioned, we'll be diving straight into AI smart cities and how they work within the human rights frameworks and concepts, and then more in particular within the Asia Pacific context. So diving straight in, what is artificial intelligence? Well, artificial intelligence, or as we know, everyone knows here, is AI, has been a part of our daily lives. It's technology that shapes how people access information, interact with the devices, share personal information, and even understand foreign languages. I'm sure everyone here has used Google Translate here and there. It's also transformed how individuals and groups can be tracked and identified. And it dramatically alters what kinds of information can be gleaned about people from their data, whether it's particular foods that you like, whether you're interested in going to a particular place, who you'd like to interact with. AI can really determine that sort of behavior. AI has the potential to revolutionize societies in very positive ways. We've seen amazing things that have come out of AI innovation, but like with any scientific or technological advancement, there is a risk that the use of these tools by states and corporations can have a negative impact on human rights. So artificial intelligence, it's a very broad term. It's used to refer to a diverse range of applications and techniques at different levels of complexity and autonomy. So we're thinking about some of the concepts such as artificial narrow intelligence. So if anyone remembers computer chess, that is a form of artificial narrow intelligence that we're thinking about. It's the ability for machines to resemble human capabilities in fairly narrow domains with different degrees of technical sophistication and autonomy. Modern day concepts of artificial narrow intelligence also include chatbots that assist by answering very specific questions that you have. So it'll be like, when is my delivery going to come in? Are you able to track that? Artificial chatbots can respond to those responses. And then another thing that we're thinking about is algorithms. So algorithms can refer to any instruction, such as computer code, that carries out a set of commands. This is essentially a way for computers to process data. We're looking at codes that transform data that is inputted in and then produced to desired output. And then thirdly, we're also looking at automated decision making. So this generally involves large-scale collection of data by various sensors, and then having the data processed by various algorithms, and then subsequently into automatic performance. It's efficient in terms of managing, organizing, and analyzing large amounts of data, and then structuring the decision-making accordingly. It may or may not rely on AI actually, as there are varying degrees of human involvement. And then lastly, we're thinking about machine learning. It's a popular technique in the field of AI, which has actually existed for decades, but it's gained prominence in recent years. It often uses algorithms trained with vast amounts of data to improve a system's performance over time. Tasks tend to involve making decisions, recognizing patterns, as well as many possible outputs across a range of domains and applications. So why does it matter that we're talking about these various key concepts within artificial intelligence? It matters because the main issue is that different challenges to AI systems raise specific ethical and regulatory issues. For stakeholders such as us to pinpoint various concerns within AI, it's better to be slightly more specific, to think about where these issues are within each system, and then cater how we can effectively be involved in the development of AI, as every system is so different and unique. I know that was a bit to take in, but we do have more time to discuss later on. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was smart cities. So smart cities was actually a marketing term that was used to define the use of technology, and in particular, data collection, to improve the functioning of cities. The main idea behind these smart cities was the more local governments know about people living in those cities, the better the services will be. So the World Bank has come up with two definitions of smart cities. The first one being a technology-intensive city with sensors everywhere and highly efficient public services, thanks to information that is gathered in real time by thousands of internet-connected devices. The second being a city that cultivates a better relationship between citizens and governments, leveraged by available technology. They rely on feedback from citizens to help improve service delivery and creating mechanisms to gather this information. Interesting that there are two definitions by the one institution, and it reflects that there are different priorities and characteristics in terms used in each definition, in this case, given by the same entity, and it reflects the diversity that exists in the sector. What we can gather is that smart cities is more like an ecosystem, and it's filled with many communication channels and connections being integrated into one larger and broader environment. So now you're thinking, how does AI and how do smart cities relate to human rights? And human rights is a very broad concept that's very hard to define. And so the way that we've come about this with Article 19 is that we've approached freedom of expression through 5 pillars or 5 key elements. The first being civic space. This is a place where individuals go to exercise their rights when it comes to organizing, forming associations, and protesting to use their rights to express their viewpoints. We find that a robust and protected civic space forms the cornerstone of accountability, responsive, democratic governance, and stable societies. So a good civic space enables people to be able to come together and to be able to discuss, share ideas, and as well as to create forms of action. The next thing that we think about when it comes to human rights is media. So we're thinking about media pluralism, the quality and the amount of media, as well as media freedom. How free are media organizations able to express or be able to publish their news and information? We find that media is essential for protecting and promoting freedom of expression and the public interest, especially in an increasingly globalized, digitalized, and converged media landscape worldwide. And then next, we're thinking about transparency. So the questions that we're asking are, do these technologies impact the right of individuals to obtain information from public and private actors, where their actions can relate to how the government operates or affects the public interest. Communities and individuals may be empowered to hold governments and other actors accountable in promoting and defending socioeconomic rights. Fourthly, we're thinking about digital. So in our digital time, we have human rights both online as well as offline. We should be able to access the same information, engage in the same discussions in an open internet. Laws, policies, and products, technology, processes, they all have an impact on the internet, and they should also embed human rights principles. And then lastly, we have protection. So it can be hard work for those who are working to defend freedom of expression and information. So we're starting to think about what sort of various laws and mechanisms, as well as institutions, bodies that are supporting those defending human rights. This will help safeguard those who are communicating these freedom of expression and human rights issues, and then keep those who violate human rights accountable. So in summary, we've got 5 main pillars. 1 being civic space, 2 being media, 3 being transparency, 4 being digital, and 5 being protection. And these are the 5 main elements that we think about, we can approach human rights through. I know that was fairly quick, but we'll have more time to discuss as we will be going straight into a breakout now. So if I can have the organizers assist with this, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnelly. Yes, we will be meeting, might be in your session. So the session will be split randomly. We'll be dividing in breakout sessions, yes.
We are going to divide all the participants into 2 breakout rooms, and assignment will be randomly. Both of these 2 speakers will be in each of the breakout room. Let me just do the process.
Maybe you'll assign first Donnelly, then Samoni, Sam, and then you split manually. Then you can have the random allocation.
Yeah, sure. Nadra, can you please confirm how long will it take? I mean, the timer for the breakout room.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
The time for breakout room.
The 20. I think Donnelly asked for 20 minutes.
About 15 to 20 minutes or so.
Okay,
yeah.
There will be a limit of 20 minutes, and the room, breakout rooms will end automatically after 20.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Okay, we are done. Hello guys, I think you are having some issues to join the room. I'm trying to allocate the rooms, assign the room, but please check if you are having some issue. Hello guys, can you hear me? Any of you haven't joined? None of you haven't joined any breakout room. I'm just trying to figure out what is the issue. Can you please check it on your side? Because I'm sending requests again and again, and I think you are not accepting to join.
I'm not too sure if everyone's back yet, but
yes, everyone is back. You can just start.
Awesome. So one of the participants in the breakout room had a very good question, which was, what are the gaps between these various stakeholders in terms of as a challenge? And I thought I'd just bring this up to the wider group as well, because it's a very interesting question. Some of the gaps that we've been able to identify is a gap in terms of communication. Various stakeholders are working separately within various silos, working on these issues alone. And so there isn't too much conversation or dialogue that's occurring unless we're in multi-stakeholder forums. And then the second one is that given that each community or each sector is so unique when it comes to thinking about these technologies in a certain perspective, they all use different languages to describe the technology. And so what we've been able to learn is that sometimes we've got to be able to try and shift the way that we talk about AI and smart cities into something that is more policy related when we're talking to governments, when we're talking to people who are thinking about like regulations. When we're talking to technologists, people who are building and developing this, we've got to be able to change it to a more technical level discussion, and that requires understanding, whether it is understanding the algorithms, the code, being able to look into these data sets. And then when we're talking to people who are deploying this, it's thinking about the impacts and the long-term impacts with this. So more in a practical level for those. And so I hope that answers the question of the person who raised that up. And so this is just a quick moment for anyone to be able to share whether you've got any aha moments or anything that you found that was quite interesting during this talk. Feel free to speak up because I can't see the chat, or if the moderator is able to just like bring up those chats.
Yes, we have 1 minute, but there is a question from Rick Wangshi. If they want to raise this question verbally, or I read it.
If you can read it, yeah,
I'll read it here to save time. What effective mechanism can you come out with to regulate smart technology standards and the world instead of letting big technologies and governments dictate the terms?
Mm-hmm. So we've been partaking in various multi-stakeholder forums, such as the ITU, where they're starting to develop some of these standards for smart cities. And that is a way for us to be engaging on the same level as industry players, as private actors, as well as governments, to be able to come up and develop standards that are suitable and as well as rights respecting with regards to some of these technologies.
So as we are closing, coming to the end of this session, it went very fast. Can you have a final say and for a way forward, how we can move this concept? Yes.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you once again to the APSIG organizers for giving us this time to be able to discuss, to be able to share some of the learnings that we've had with regards to AI, smart cities, and relating it to human rights. We've learned that the development of AI and smart cities isn't just on the soul of the private actors. The regulation, the development of these standards isn't just for governments, but all of this is a way for us to be involved, for civil society, for concerned activists, advocates, to be able to share and discuss their concerns with regards to human rights or any other concerns with these technologies. We do have spaces and forums to be able to discuss some of these issues. And I think it's an opportunity for us to be able to feel empowered, for us to be able to own this technology, because at the end of the day, the people that are impacted by this technology are us. So thank you once again to the APSIG organizers, and thank you everyone for participating in those discussions earlier.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Samoni. And I want to ask, because I will be distributing through Mubashir, the fellowship committee, an evaluation form, 2 questions, what you liked from this session, from the day, and what you advise us to do in the future. And I'm happy to have good responses from you on this form. Thank you all. Thank for our volunteer team who are helping us managing this rooms. Thanks all. Thanks for Article 19 as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nodra, and thank you, Don and Samani. Thank you, everyone. I hope you had a good session, good day. Let's hope for a good session tomorrow. See you all tomorrow. You can see the contact information. If you have any query, just feel free to contact us. You can contact secretary for any query. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you all.
Bye. Bye too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.